All right, Sistas fans, this is season 1, episode 5, entitled One Day at a Time. Now, up front, not gonna lie, not the best episode. I remember last week when I did my review, I'm like, this is probably the weakest one of the season so far. No, it was easily this one. And I think it's kind of ironic because last week I'm saying, oh, wow, we didn't get a lot of Andy, Gary, Jasmine drama. We really kind of focused more on Karen and Aaron and Sabrina and Calvin with a little Danny sprinkled in there. But the story didn't really flow that well. It just felt like, man, this episode is just a lot of kind of filler here. And Andy's storyline is easily the strongest one. So if we're not really following her, the other three women don't have storylines I feel are strong enough to carry on a full episode. And I remember posting a poll in the community tab. I think I even mentioned it in the episode review for episode 4 saying, Sisters may be better if it was in like a 22-minute time slot, for a 30-minute episode. But moving to this episode, we kind of got the flip of what we got last week, where we got more Andy scenes, and we did touch upon the other women, but not as much. So really, Andy was at the forefront of the episode, but it honestly felt like a lot of scenes were stretched out. And I hate to do this, and I don't think I've given a score this low in a while. And I'm giving the episode a 4 out of 10. I know that's I can't even remember the last time I went that low. I want to say the last time from memory was probably a Pains episode back when I used to watch it before I quit, but I did watch like a couple of last episodes of the before the season went off. I just didn't much at all, and to be honest, kind of like last week, I think hey, I bet I could sum up the episode in 2 minutes or less. I think I can kind of do the same thing here. Basically, Aaron's wife shows up to the dinner. Karen tries to get away from the situation because obviously the wife is still involved with Aaron, and Aaron is like, no, I'm with her now. And it's an awkward situation that Karen didn't want to be a part of. Then after that, Karen is encountered by Aaron's wife at her hair salon before she opens, and it's just begging her, please, give me 6 months. I'll try to work things out with Aaron, and, just please don't contact him again. Karen doesn't really say that she won't contact Aaron again. She just goes once again on about how she has nothing to do with their marriage and doesn't want any part of it. So yeah, she's kind of a third party. And then she just leaves the woman. Danny and Zach, they have their scenes together. It's pretty much the night. They're trying to get themselves together for the night. He's trying to, do what he has to do in the bathroom, brush his teeth and whatnot. And Danny's watching him. Then they smoke out of some pen. He gets high and flirting with her, but also telling some truth bombs about how she's lonely. And it's like, you know what? Maybe things would have played out differently if you didn't make fun of me and whatnot and push me on Karen instead of trying to get with me yourself. And that's pretty much that story. Calvin and Sabrina are having they had a good dinner, and next thing you know, it goes to the bedroom. Clothes come off. She sees he has panties, and it's an awkward night until she gets up, takes a photo of what he was wearing, and then he gets up about 1, 2 a.m. and then leaves. She talks with Danny, and she laughs as always because she sent a picture to her. Then also she goes ahead and talks to Maurice the next day at the bank before they open, and without saying that that's actually Calvin in the picture, he's like, oh no, he's straight, he wouldn't want anything like that. And now she's questioning once again his sexuality. And one thing I found about Sisters, it seems like even though all 4 women are in a group of friends, it seems like Karen and Andy are closer, kind of like Danny and Sabrina are. You know what I mean? Like, it reminds me of Recess, where, 6 friends in the group, what was it? Spinelli, Gretchen, Vince, Gus, Mikey, and TJ, where some episodes might focus more on a couple of the characters together in adventure, but at the same time, the entire group felt like a group of friends. Again, with Sisters, they're all friends, but it definitely seems like they have their own pairs. Like Danny's always the first person that Sabrina seems to talk to about things, and then Karen and Andy kind of had that same dynamic as well. It's almost like, these 2 girls know something the other 2 don't, but it's a big reveal when all 4 of them are together. That makes sense. Kind of like the Andy messing around with Gary, who's a married man. Do you see what I'm saying there? But other than that, let's see, I've already discussed Sabrina's story arc, Karen, Danny, and Andy, which took up most of the episode, I think it was rather boring because we kind of got a lot of the same thing. And this is what I noticed about Gary. Every time Gary asked Andy a question, about what do you want me to do, or how do you feel about this? When Andy is about to answer, he's always like, whoa, but if you do this, then that's going to make this situation even worse. It's kind of like, dude, then what did you even ask her the question for? It's like you're trying to disguise the ability to let Andy think for herself, but then you kind of manipulate her with like a semi-ultimatum before she can even answer a question. It's almost like, okay, so maybe Gary, maybe you didn't abuse Jasmine physically, but you may have mentally abused her by being a domineering personality in a relationship. That's the vibe I'm kind of getting from him. And apparently after drinking, he tells Andy, hey, why don't you represent Jasmine in court, even though you said early in the episode, don't take the case because I didn't get a prenup. And I'm just like, moron. And all I can think about Eddie Murphy is half. And then after that, I guess he wanted Andy to kind of manipulate the system by working with Jasmine for his sake, because what, if she takes me for what I've got, then that's going to affect our future together, which begs the question, did Gary know that Andy is a divorce attorney and possibly try to woo her specifically because he didn't get a prenup, and by manipulating her, that would result in a divorce where he would be able to take away more, as opposed to if he just got a divorce out of the blue. So because he didn't have a prenup, Jasmine would have taken him for pretty much almost everything he has. And I remember mentioning this like after episode 1 or 2, that man, Andy better watch out, because it might end up in a situation where she ends up losing her job at the law firm. Then Jasmine gets a divorce from Gary and then takes him for everything he's got. So those two are together while she's out of a job and he has no more money. So I think that she is definitely treading on thin ice there. And that's pretty much the episode, aside from the end where Jasmine is at the law firm office right as Andy's coming back from lunch, and a woman comes in saying that, hey, you're needing the conference room and bring your things, which make it seem like she's being fired. But we saw in the preview that Jasmine's talking with Andy, so it's safe to say that she's probably come back to get Andy's help. So with that being said, I think the episode definitely had a lot of filler scenes that were dragged out. Even Maurice, who's one of my favorite characters, didn't really get a lot of laughs this episode. I mean, he was just kind of there. And Karen, I guess the other takeaway is the fact that Andy's trying to prevent Karen from getting into a similar situation as what she's getting into, where it's kind of weird because Karen's like, hey, Gary's with you now. He left his wife to be with you, so just go for it, which is a sharp I think this episode had a lot of contradiction. It's like these characters are telling other characters to do the opposite of what they were telling them to do a few episodes ago, if that makes any sense. But overall, yeah, 4 out of 10. Not the best episode. Mostly skippable, just my opinion. And I don't know what it was about tonight. Maybe it's because there was the Democratic debate, the Masked Singer, among other programs. But I did not see a lot of people on Twitter because I was tweeting like I was last week. And last week, man, it was like a tweet party. This week, it almost felt like I was by myself. BET and a few other people would retweet and comment, but that was about it. Like, I don't know. And I'm wondering about Sistas as well, because at least on my trending list, I saw the Oval. Yeah, like it trends every week. But the only week I remember seeing Sistas trending was during the premiere. So I don't know. And the ratings have been kind of up and down. So I hope it gets better, because it's kind of ironic. The Oval was starting off pretty rocky for me. I was praising Sistas, but now Sistas is kind of like, okay, now come on, don't turn into a Pains on me. But just my opinion. So if you did watch Sistas last night, let me know what you thought about One Day at a Time. Honestly, a great title, a slogan, and kind of a good motto to live by. And speaking of One Day at a Time, we keep getting closer to 100,000 subscribers one day at a time. So if you are new, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and give this video a thumbs up. Also, check me out on social media. Links are in the description below. And without further ado, I need to go ahead and work on my Oval and then my Ambitions episode reviews, because those two shows were pretty great this week.